Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is the Munificent Alchemist by O. Graves, FRC Dean, Rose-Croix University. An article taken from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 21, Number 4, May 1943. The Munificent Alchemist by O. Graves, FRC Dean, Rose-Croix University. The most incredible personage of comparative modern times has been Comte Saint-Germain. His accomplishments and innumerable skills have been no less great than his wealth and versatility. He seems to have been born under some strange and wonderful star dedicated to an unknown work of ecumenical importance. He was the most liberal and bountiful human being, with his material possessions as well as his wonderful accomplishments, that has ever actually crossed the pages of history. Mysteriously and veiled, much he was in many of his actions recognized as a leader of many secret societies of his day and of today. Most of all, he is celebrated as the greatest genuine alchemist of all time. The mind of the common man has been so taken in by the toils of his charm, so fascinated by his incomparable ease and grace of bearing, so awed by his accomplishments and interest, that he seems to humanity to have transcended their limitations and common duties. That is exactly what he was, a transcendental being clothed in the flesh, stirring the imagination and proving the wonderful secrets of the old alchemists. It is generally accepted that Comte Saint-Germain was the third son of Franz Leopold, Prince Rogozzi of Transylvania. As to this man's birth, it is usually given by authoritative historians as 1710. However, if he was around 143 years of age when his so-called death occurred, he should have been born in 1600 and something. The young Comte Saint-Germain was brought up under the care and protection of the Medicis in the polished and graceful court of France. It is here that he obtained all the marks of a polished and cultured person of ability. After he received his ordinary education, he went to the University of Vienna. So far as we can discover, he visited many unknown parts of the then known world, such as Africa, Egypt, Persia, India, and even China. He seemed to be possessed of a peculiar faculty and ability to cross from one country to another very quickly and mysteriously. In Persia, from 1737 to 1842, he acquired his strange knowledge of the secrets of nature relating to his famous elixir. In Egypt, he obtained his occult knowledge and the secret of the philosopher's stone. In India, he claimed to have learned the art of making diamonds, melting jewels, and transmuting small jewels into one large gem. During his travels, he is supposed to have met not only many royal personages, but many famous people such as Mesmer, Cagliostro, Paracelsus, Clive of India, Dr. John Dee, Raymond Lully, Voltaire, Rousseau, Saint Martin, Lafayette, and many others. From descriptions and paintings of Comte Saint-Germain, he seems to have been an extremely handsome man, above middle height, graceful figure, black hair, olive skin, regular features, dark penetrating eyes, and perfect white teeth. His continued good looks and health were attributed to the secret of his alchemical elixir. We have in the Rosicrucian Research Library a photographic copy of a rare old painting of Comte Saint-Germain from a European collection given to us by a native of Transylvania. This picture is titled Comte Saint-Germain, the Celebrated Alchemist. Comte Saint-Germain seemed to have settled down in France at the conclusion of his travels to act as advisor and tutor of Louis XV, and was given the use of the king's country castle. Saint-Germain made this castle the headquarters for his occult and secret practices. Here he studied and taught classes, held conventions, and built a large alchemical laboratory. Diplomatic career. History is most concerned with Comte Saint-Germain as a diplomat. He served the King of France on various diplomatic missions to Holland, England, Russia, Austria, and Germany. Official records, still existent in the historical archives of these various countries, attest to the fact that such a personage did visit their country around the time mentioned above. Andrew Lang has written an extremely interesting work called Historical Mysteries, wherein he quotes several of these records proving the great political importance and influence of Comte Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain, always an alchemist, believed that his mission to the continent of Europe was to warn people of the great purging fire of the French Revolution, which was to come and transmute the political dregs of the time into the gold of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Whether Saint-Germain's abilities were due to cosmic consciousness which he attained through certain exercises or to the use of his elixir will never be known. However, he did possess a power over and knowledge of human nature so great that he was able to exercise almost miraculous influence over human beings without the least effort. He used this power always for good in healing and in teaching. He was a marvelous linguist and could speak fluently English, German, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, French, Greek, Latin, Arabic, Chinese, Hebrew, Sanskrit, Persian, Egyptian, and other ancient languages. He was ambidextrous to such an extent that he performed the marvelous feat of writing mystical poetry with one hand on one sheet of paper, while with the other hand he wrote a love letter. He had a remarkable memory, was a great musician, pianist, splendid violinist, and also composed music. It is said that certain of his autographed compositions were in the possession of Peter Tchaikovsky. He was likewise a painter of strange ability. He painted in oils and had discovered some secret method of imparting brilliance to his colors which he refused to reveal. He was a great artist, a philosopher, a jeweler, and a renowned leader of many occult societies of Europe. He invented a process for dyeing cloth, skins, woolens, and wood in an inexpensive way. He perfected certain painting oils so that they did not have an unpleasant smell. He prepared the way for photography and the use of natural gas. He is claimed to have drawn up the plans for two great inventions, the train and the steamboat. Above and beyond all these varied interests and abilities, Comte Saint-Germain seemed to value most his philosophy and practice of alchemy. He was successful too in this practice, for he possessed, if not the secret of perpetual youth, at least the secret of youthful appearance. He lived many years beyond the ordinary span of man's life. He was extremely generous with his immense wealth and the power of healing which he possessed. Connection with occult societies. As healer and benefactor of mankind, he especially lays claim to being a Rosicrucian. Many documents prove his connection with various occult societies of Europe, and he was believed to have been the mysterious imperator of Europe in his time. According to the four great source of works available on the life of Comte Saint-Germain, his teachings dealt with alchemy, the Kabbalah, the esoteric teachings of Plato, the mysticism of Plotinus and of Dionysius, the Areopagite. A modern scholar, the Reverend F.D.P. Castellos, proves in his two works after years of research that such subjects were those of the Rosicrucian order. This proves more conclusively than in any other manner that Saint-Germain was a Rosicrucian. Saint-Germain left many manuscripts and written monographs in the archives of the various secret societies with which he was connected. Some bits have come to the public eye. The largest one of his manuscripts, and one which is rather common, is that one which is entitled Very Holy Trinosophia. This threefold treatment of wisdom is an obscure, esoteric, alchemical manuscript. According to Madame Blavatsky, it is his only existent manuscript. One must not only be versed in ciphers, but in the strange terminology of alchemy as well in order to understand it. Alchemical secrets. Comte Saint-Germain is known to have had definite connections with the famous alchemical laboratory in the Landstrasse in Vienna, and to have had a residence on the Street of the Alchemists at Prague. Not only did Saint-Germain possess the Elixir of Youth, but he knew how to make precious stones and was well versed in all the alchemical secrets. A.E. Waite, in an article in the Occult Review for May 1923, quotes a document wherein is stated that the writer witnessed Saint-Germain's transmutation of iron into metal as beautiful as gold. Von Swieten also witnessed Saint-Germain compose some fraudulent alchemists and actually transmute before them 12 pounds of lead into solid gold. Saint-Germain turned the whole court of Louis XV into turmoil when he manufactured and perfected precious stones. He once treated a diamond with a flaw in it which belonged to Louis XV. After the alchemical treatment, the king's jeweler stated that the diamond was worth double its original value. There is evidence that Saint-Germain possessed the actual alchemical projection powder by which it was possible to transmute such base metals into gold. Several historical people recorded that they had in their possession different coins and medallions which had been transmuted into gold by Saint-Germain. A certain Leopold Hoffmann medallion is in the possession of that family today. 2/3 of this medallion was transmuted into gold, leaving the balance silver. It was the only medallion of its kind ever made. Therefore, fraud was impossible. This type of gold made by Saint-Germain was proved to have been as good as that obtained from the goldsmiths of his day. Elixir of Youth. It is reported in the correspondence of one of the nobility of his day, Graffa by name, that Saint-Germain's secret of his elixir for long life was usually obtained from herbs. The use of essence helped to keep him looking as though he were only 45 years of age. The secret of this elixir was once given to Prince Yusupov of Moscow. Saint-Germain often gave of this herbal essence to the poor and the weak. One time, while Saint-Germain was in Russia, the Russian fleet was in the unusual heat of the archipelago. Many of the sailors became sick, and Saint-Germain prepared this famous tea for the use of the sailors. There were some English diplomats present who secured the formula of this tea for the English council, and it was taken back to England. After the disappearance of Saint-Germain, various druggists and apothecaries spent much time trying to discover the ingredients of this tea, aqua benedetta, as it is sometimes called. One druggist alone spent 12,000 crowns in search of this medicine. Andrew Lang claims that as a result of his research, the main ingredient of this elixir was found to be the common senna. Many pharmaceutical students and pharmacological works have given an adulterated formula calling it Saint-Germain's tea. Certain manuscripts and documents now in the possession of the instructor of alchemy in the Rose-Croix University, which were obtained from a resident of Transylvania, Saint-Germain's native land, have given students the genuine and complete formula of Saint-Germain's Elixir of Youth. One of the 5 ingredients of this formula is an extremely rare and expensive vegetable product called manna. This is not the manna of the Bible, but is technically known as Fraxinus ornus. Further details of this formula cannot be given here. Those interested can obtain the little pamphlet called Alchemy by Richard Ingalese, and the book entitled Alchemy Rediscovered and Restored by A. Cochrane. These 2 works should convince the average reader that the alchemical works of Saint-Germain might be performed today. As a matter of fact, semi-precious and precious stones have been made at the Rose-Croix University by a process similar to that of Saint-Germain. A famous jeweler of 2 continents has spent 3 months testing a topaz, which was made at the Rose-Croix University, and has pronounced it one of the finest he has ever seen. Although the alchemy students of the Rose-Croix University have not used Saint-Germain's method in attempting to transmute base metals into gold, they have attained some degree of success along this line by the use of Jolivet Castelot's method. There have been many magazine articles and booklets written about Comte Saint-Germain, but most of them are not reliable. The genuine source works on Comte Saint-Germain are, for the most part, in foreign languages, French, German, and Latin. There is one book which the average reader can refer to readily with confidence. This book is in English and is fairly easy to obtain in most public libraries. It is entitled The Comte Saint-Germain by I. Cooper Oakley. Whatever the origin and age of Comte Saint-Germain, there is no question but that he was a celebrated alchemist, a benefactor and humanitarian, and a wonderful man in his day. His entire life was devoted to the benefit of the world. He traveled from place to place and lived without a family and without human ties. His was a sorrowful life, further increased by the insurmountable obstacles in the political world and in human nature. However, he always appeared peaceful and content, always giving to those in need and ever helping. His death, like that of many other of mankind, is refuted to have been a mock funeral. Saint-Germain has often been called the 18th century messenger of the Great White Lodge. Students of occult philosophies cannot help but admit that Saint-Germain was one of the adepts in person, chosen to startle, benefit, and challenge the world by means of the age-old science of alchemy. The article you have now concluding on Comte Saint-Germain is a condensed version from original source material residing in the archives of the Rosicrucian order, AMORC, from material borrowed from a native of Transylvania, from Rosicrucian alchemical manuscripts, and from I. Cooper Oakley's works. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.